Okay, so you've been through your welcome yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome done, and so you're on your name list, trim list. You made your name list done.
Yeah.
You prepared your 25 name list. You brought that today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do with that. But before that, I'll take you through this. I'll share something with you, which one of the most successful people in the business have followed this. Okay, in fact, just 3 to 5% people have done this. This is actually a fast track program. Okay, which can help you to reach the finish line in about less than 2 years' time. Okay, so on the books that you would have got, there's a book called Business School. Okay, which is by Robert Kiyosaki. You've seen the financials as well,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Seen the financials.
Yeah.
You would have seen this. You'll be familiar with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch this. Now, this is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in that book. Okay. Now, where do you think QNET falls in this?
B quadrant.
B quadrant? Okay,
Yeah.
let me tell you, QNET doesn't fall in any of these quadrants. It's basically the individuals who fall in these quadrants. You know, but we think as individuals, when we sign up with QNET, okay, we have moved to the 3% just because we signed up. Okay, but that's not how it is. Let me give an example of Reliance. Okay, now Reliance as a company won't fall in any of these quadrants, right? But the individuals associated with this company will fall in these quadrants. Like for example, the Ambanis would be in the B quadrant. Now Reliance also has employees, right? It also has vendors who provide goods and services to the company, and there are also investors in Reliance. So they all fall in this category. But Reliance per se, the company doesn't fall in any of these categories. But QNET, as we think, the same with QNET. QNET doesn't fall, but we think that when we sign up, we already moved on the right side of the quadrant. We're the 3%ers. But they don't. But most of the people, they don't succeed simply because they think they're already there. But they won't succeed till the time they actually change their mindset, which is what is required to move from the left side to the right side. That's what Robert Kiyosaki talks about. And mindset, and Robert Kiyosaki actually talks more about the mindset part, what it requires, why the 3%ers are there, because it is because of their mindset. And something beautiful which he's also shared when he talks about the mindset of the 3%ers, he defines asset and liability the way both the 97%ers and the 3%ers think about the assets and the liabilities. Now, how would you define an asset and a liability?
An asset would be something which I would own, and a liability would be typically which would be like my outgoings or something which would keep depreciating.
Okay, fine. So, and I'll tell you how Robert Kiyosaki has defined them, and he's put it very simply. All he says is anything which puts money in your pocket is an asset. Anything which removes money is a liability. Simple, right?
Right.
But now, you know how do the 97%ers treat the liability, and so do the 3%ers. Okay. Now listen to this carefully. Now the 97%ers, okay, there is a middle class section and the poorer section which fall under that. They buy a liability thinking it's an asset and keep paying for that liability for the rest of their life.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. The 97%ers, they buy a liability thinking it's an asset and they end up paying for the rest of their life. Like for example, do you own a car?
Yes.
Do you think a car is an asset or a liability?
It's an asset.
But actually, how can it be an asset? You're paying an EMI for that.
Yes.
There are petrol expenses, maintenance expenses. The money is actually going out from your pocket.
Right.
So then is it a liability or an asset?
That would be a liability.
It's a liability. Actually, you took a loan to buy a liability,
Right.
and it continued to pay for that. Okay, maybe you would think that. Now let's take another example, which I think most of the people think will shake your belief system. Now, the house you stay in, you think it's an asset or a liability?
Yeah. House would be an asset.
Would be an asset.
Yeah.
Now, the house, if you're staying in the house, okay, it's a liability. Because you'll be paying EMIs, there'll be expenses, maintenance, electricity bill, phone
Right.
bills, and so on. So money is flowing out,
Right.
right?
Right.
So then it's not it's not a asset, it's a liability.
Correct.
If you're giving a house on rent, then it becomes an asset
Okay.
and not a liability. Okay. Now let me tell you how you can start this business also as a liability. Okay. Simply put, if you start this business for anything less than 5 units, then you're starting it as a liability. Okay. Let me share this now. Say now you will start talking to your friends and so on. Say you talk to one of your friends and you know that she is currently in a financial, in a financial difficult position where she can't shell out some big money. She's a lot of costs, expenses right now happening. She barely managed to save and financially not all that stable. Okay, but once you show her the plan, and she's pretty gung-ho and she sees this as a hope where she can change her life. Now, what do you think will recommend her to start off with? How much amount?
Between 50,000 to 1.5 lakh.
About 50,000 to a lakh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now generally we say we don't even start anything with less than triple header, and your client says no, nothing below a lakh or at least a triple header, and you push her to start with a lakh or a lakh 25,000, which will be enough to start on the triple header. Okay. Now when she starts with that figure, okay, what do you think will be her first thing in her mind?
To recover the money.
To recover the money?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's see what it will take for this person to recover that money. Okay. Now tell me, when a person starts with say triple header, what do you think he or she will attract? What kind of ticket size will she attract?
A triple header.
Triple header itself?
Yes.
Same, because first thing someone will ask you is how much did you start with? And you cannot lie obviously in this business.
Correct.
So even if the person has a capacity to put in about 8 lakhs, will only still start with 1.5 lakhs, because that's what you started with. Max you would have someone who will start with maybe a 5 header or not beyond that. And the reason is simply because you won't be able to ask.
Correct.
You won't be able to ask because you've not done it yourself.
Right.
Okay. So if by chance you have someone who is ready to start with 21 header, you would be like, are you sure? You'll be asking him, you think about it. You'll call up your upline immediately and say, you know what, this guy wants to start at 21 header, what do I do? You'll be
Right.
scared. Why? Because you've not done it yourself.
Right.
Okay, so you'll not have a 21 header. You will have an organization full of 13 headers. So now let's look at, so if this person starts with say 1.25 lakhs. Okay, so what does it take? You've seen the financials, right? You have a left and a right.
Right.
So to recover 1.25 lakhs, how many checks would he need to make? Say 10 checks,
Yeah.
right? So let's assume, so 10 checks means how many UVs on the left and the right to make 10 checks? 30 here and 30 here,
Okay.
right? Then he makes 10 checks, which means, let's assume it's a triple header organization, and so which means he has 10 sign-ups here, 10 sign-ups here,
Yeah.
and we're assuming that these are all his direct referrals,
Okay.
and he's placed it such a way where he can make those checks, which doesn't normally happen. Okay, will always be a little skewed, but let's assume these are all his direct referrals, and he's made 10 and all come on the triple header.
Okay.
Okay, let's give the benefit that since he is all his DRs, he'll also earn some retail commission, right? About 4,500 or something.
Right.
So which means this 10 will actually, what he will need is 7 sign-ups here, 7 sign-ups here.
Right.
Okay, if we adjust the retail commission. So which means he needs to sign up what? 14 people.
Right.
Okay. Now to sign up 14 people, how many people do you think he'll need to show a plan to? How many plans he'll need to show?
70, 80.
Yes, if we take a 20% conversion, so which means he'll need to show at least 70 plans.
Right.
Now 70 plans this person needs to do only to recover his money. Now what do you think will this person go through 70 plans? You think he'll last? What are the chances he'll last through the 70 plans?
No.
He won't.
Definitely not.
That's one of the reasons why so many people drop out. They don't last. They start and in fact what happens is what they turn out to is they go in a further financial mess. Simply because now they have to pay this amount, they've raised this kind of amount, and they get into further financial debt. And that's nothing but a 97% thought and a 97% advice that we have given, and it is a 97% action which has happened. Okay, so now let's see how the 3%ers would think and how the 3%ers go about doing things. Now, going back to what Robert Kiyosaki says, a 3%er, when he buys an asset, okay, he buys an asset using someone else's money to buy the asset and make someone else repay that money.
Okay.
But he continues to own the asset. Okay, let me give an example of Robert Kiyosaki, what he did. Okay, he bought a house, okay, with a loan. The good thing he did is he didn't stay in that. He put that house on rent. Okay, and the rentals that he got were close to the EMIs that he was paying. So in effect, what had happened? The money was paid by whom for the house?
The tenant. Bank.
The bank paid the money.
Yeah.
Okay, and who was paying those EMIs? Who was paying back to the bank? The tenant.
The tenant, yeah.
Because his rentals are getting interest, right?
Yeah.
And who continued to own the asset? Robert Kiyosaki. And over a period of time, that was knocked off. Then he bought another house, he put it on rent, and so on and on. And over a period of time, all these EMIs were paid. Okay. Now, whatever rentals which kept coming in, were all positive cash flows for him. And that's how the 3%ers think.
Okay.
That's how the successful business will do. Okay, they may not have funds. Now, say for example, Reliance. Look at Reliance. They bid for projects much more, say 10 times of their own capacity, what they can raise. Say if they have 500 crores, they may bid for projects which will be 5,000 crores worth.
Okay.
But where does the money come from? They raise money from the markets, from banks, and so on. But they continue to own the assets. Now, 3%er will never borrow money to own a liability. They'll always borrow money to own a asset. Okay. Now let me share how this project can also be an asset. Now this can only be an asset if you start anything upwards of 3 lakhs and above. Okay. Now let me share. Now the same example. Now this person, okay, if you ask this person, okay, to start. Now if I give you an example where you, okay, actually don't put your own money, but you own an asset of say about 65 crores and someone else pays for it, would you be game for it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right now you started as a 7-header, right?
Right.
Okay, so say if you upgrade to add another 13-header, okay, and say that's worth about 5 lakhs. Okay, you put in 5 lakhs. Now you wouldn't, that 5 lakhs would then come from a bank. Are you eligible for a loan? Yeah, you can take a loan of 5 lakhs.
Right.
Okay, now let me share with you how this business can be an asset where you will actually not be paying that amount. Okay, there will be EMIs to be coming, but how the business can actually pay it, and you will actually own an asset of about 65 crores.
Okay.
So you'll be game for that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me share how that happens. Now, when you take, say, take a loan of 5 lakhs.
Okay.
Your EMIs roughly about is for per lakhs about 3,000 to 3,200 odd. So say roughly it's about 15,000 EMI that you would end up paying. This is the EMI.
Right.
Okay, so we need to take care of that, right?
Right.
Okay, now let's say this is your left and the right. Now when you put in another 5 lakhs, how would be your commitment levels? Pretty high. Now you really stretched yourself.
Yes.
Now you'll be prepared to do whatever it takes. If I tell you then you need to complete your books and DVDs in the next 1 week, would you be doing that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I tell you, call you and say in the middle of the night, listen, we got to sit and discuss how you can make the money faster, would you be there?
Yes.
Because now the commitment level would be definitely high, right? And what do you think a person who signs up with has got 21 headers, what ticket size will he or she attract? Same level, 13 headers or 21 headers and so on.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you come across someone who says, I'm in a state where I don't have, like you are in, you may not having that funds. When he says that, sorry, I don't have that kind of money I put in, what will you share? You'll say, listen, bro, I have done the same. I'll tell you how it is to be done. Okay? Now, let's say when you start, you buy the 5 lakhs, where you got 13 units, right? Now it's 13 units. Immediately you will place those 13 units. Say you place 6 and 7 units.
Yeah.
Which means you made 2 checks.
Okay.
Right? So your 2 checks will be, say, roughly 25,000 rupees.
Okay.
Approximately.
Yeah.
Right? So 25,000 means your first month EMI immediately on your purchase itself, your first month EMI is taken care of. Plus, in fact, you have 10,000 still balance remaining, right? So your first EMI is taken care of, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now with that high commitment levels, I tell you, listen, you need to, let's line up 30 plans in the coming month. Would you be able to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say the worst case scenario, how many you think you'll be able to sign up in the first month?
About 4 to 5.
4, 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be very conservative. Let's take even half of that. Say in the first entire month, you're able to sign up only 2 people. Okay. So at what ticket size they'll also come with? The same? At least a 13 header minimum, if not 21.
Yeah.
Let's take a 13 header. Okay. So if they come with a 13 header and say you place them like this, 13 here and 13 here.
Okay.
Right? So how many checks you made? You made 4 checks, which means how much? You made about 50,000. Right? You made 50,000.
Yeah.
Right? Plus you also earn retail commission on each of them,
Okay.
which would be roughly around, let's say about 45,000.
Okay.
45,000 each, which means another 90,000.
Correct.
Right? So how much did you earn? You earned 1,40,000.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So how many months EMI taken care of now? Almost 8 to 9 months.
Yeah.
If I take the 10,000 which was balance, actually your next 10 months EMI is taken care of.
Correct.
Let's assume only one sign up happened. Let's go even worse. This didn't happen. Only a one sign up happened.
Correct.
Okay. So only the retail commission. But even with just the retail commission, your 3 months EMI is taken care of with just one sign up. Okay, so you see that's how. So even with just a single, with one 13 header sign up, just on the retail purchase, you're covering your 3 months of EMI.
Okay.
Let me take even a step ahead. Even if say even if the 7 header, what you've done, just the retail commission on that would also be roughly around 30,000 rupees, which will take your 2 months EMI.
Okay.
So whatever further happens, of course, there will be it can't be that worse continuously. You can at least in next 3 months, every 3 months you can at least do one sign up, which I can say definitely with just the retail commission. Apart from that, obviously you'll be making checks as well, so it will only keep getting better. And going at it's not about just paying off those EMIs for whatever tenure of the loan is. It's actually about the way we work at is closing that particular loan in less than a year's time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure with the kind of guidance that we'll get, the help, support that we have, I think that can be comfortably achieved. Now if you look at it, now this 5 lakhs, what you put in, where did that come from? The money came actually from the bank, and who's paying it? The business. And you own this asset of, and how you can actually turn this an asset and much bigger than that, we'll go through that.
Okay.
But this is how the most successful people in the business, they have followed. So this is how the actual 3%ers work. Okay, so they don't borrow to buy a liability, but borrow to buy an asset. Okay, and you know that's how the trend has been. Like, just to share, when I started about 4.5 years back, at that point of time it used to be a single header market. Imagine, now we don't even talk about a single header. It's a big no-no. Okay, but then came RBC Sachin Gupta, and he said, you know, from now on it will be we'll do minimum triple headers. So at that point of time, people reacted. They said, I mean, it's so difficult to get single header. We're talking about triple headers, but he stuck to it. He said, no, we'll do it this way, and as a result, he maxed out in 3 years' time. Then came a gentleman by the name Aditya Bhalla. He raised the bar higher. He said, you know, from now on, my organization will only sign up at 3 lakhs and above.
Okay.
So again, at the same time, people reacted. It's difficult to get a lakh. We're talking about 3 lakhs, but he stuck to it, and as a result, he maxed out in 14 months. And then there's a gentleman by the name Amit Soni, who said, my organization will only be 21 headers and above. And as a result, not just him, in his organization, the lady who maxed out in about 8 months' time. And very recently, just following that same 21 headers practice, there's a gentleman who maxed out in 100 days. Now that's something which is unthinkable then. Now we're talking about maxing out in about 100 days. Yeah. So the trends are changing. So these are the people who have actually set new trends. Okay, it's for us to either follow or wonder. You know, because there are 3 sets of people. One, who start a trend, who just change things around. Okay, these are names which I mentioned. They are the ones who did. 2, the people, a small set of people who will follow that, who will understand this. Yes, this is a game changer. Let's follow it. And 3, there will be people who will wonder what changed. Okay, so by following this strategy, you know, we are actually following the path the way the most successful people in this business have done today. Okay, now I'll share what we'll do with this asset, how we can really grow this further. Okay, now you've seen the financials,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The financials said basically 3 left, 3 right equals to 12,500, right? Now what if I tell you 3 on one side and you make 25,000? How will it sound?
Great. Amazing.
What if I say 3 on a side and you make 50,000? Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There are much more crazier things coming up. Okay.
How?
Because the kind of numbers and figures that you will see, you know, when you heard the concept, you heard the financials, you heard it about as a 3 to 5 crores business. But this, now you'll see, it's in a different league altogether. Now we're talking of much larger figures. So you may get a bit shocked, but that's the fact what this business can take you to. Okay, it will just change the paradigm completely. So it's not just a 3-5 crores business. It's actually well over 100 crore business, and we'll see that how. Okay. Now this can be done only and only if you are a 13 or a 21 header shelf. So now currently you have 7 headers, 7 units. Now if you add 13 to it, you will have 21 in all. Okay. Now let's see how this works. Okay, so this is you. Okay, so you will have your B1 and B2 and B3 here, right? This is your B2 and B3. Right now I'm just leaving these 4 boxes blank. I'll tell you later what that's for. Okay. Now you got a name list, right?
Right.
Okay. So give me names of 2 people whom you would sign up.
One would be Neha.
Neha.
And the other friend would be Rekha.
Rekha. Okay. So you signed up Neha and Rekha.
Right.
Okay. Now, before even they could get started, the moment you sign them up, the first thing that you will do is, now see, understand, you have 21 units now. 3 have already been used up. Okay. So you have 18 more left. These are tracking centers basically. So what before they could start, you place B4 and B5 here, and before Rekha can start, you put B6 and B7 here.
Okay.
Okay. So which means that now whatever Neha builds along will come under B4 and B5.
Okay.
And whatever Rekha does will also get tracked under B6 and B7.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so this is also tracking center. Everything gets created over here as well. Now you're telling Neha and Rekha, look, listen, I'm there with you, we got to build this together. So I'm placing myself again. So this is your own tracking centers under them. Now say over a period of time, say about 6 months or so. Okay. Now your organization is built like this. Under Neha you have about 500 units, and under Rekha 1000 units have got built. Okay. Now you have one more person who's ready to sign up. Okay, you show the plan, your personal. Where do you think which will be the best place where you can place Neha? Place your friend. Just give another name.
Sheetal.
Sheetal. Okay. So where do you think you can place Sheetal? Which side? This is your left side or your right side?
On my left.
On your left, because you'll make a check here. Now on the left, where do you think you'll place? Now say this is Neha's organization, and Neha has about, her split is something like this. She's got 400 here and 100 here.
Okay.
Okay. So where do you think you can place? You have options. You can place here. You can place here. You can even place over here inside of B2. So where do you think makes sense?
Somewhere on the where Neha will be benefited also along with me.
So where do you think?
Inner side of Neha.
Right, inner side of Neha. So which is Neha's cache, you mean?
Yeah, cache.
And where? Under B4, B5?
Under B5.
B5. So the name you mentioned was Sheetal, right? So if you place Sheetal here, okay. Now let's see what happens. Why? You can also ask, why can't I place Sheetal over here? Right? So you can actually be making double checks over here as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you place Sheetal here, now who will be taking care of Sheetal?
Yeah.
You alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this business is also about leveraging. Okay. So only you would be. Now let's see what happens when you place Sheetal over here. Okay. When you place Sheetal here, let's assume now all those people who have signed up, they all have signed up for triple headers. Okay. They've been conservative. Whatever. Fine. Let's get a conservative example. They're signing up with triple headers. So say when Sheetal signed up with triple header, you made a check here at B5 because there's a credit of 100 as well over here.
Yeah.
And you made a check at B1 as well.
Right.
So which means now for 3 UVs which came in here for Sheetal, you made 25,000.
Right.
Right? And what also happened is Neha also makes a check because it's her cash out as well.
Okay.
So now you and Neha together can actually help Sheetal. So it means Sheetal now will grow faster. But before even Sheetal can start, what you do is you place your 2 more TCs, B8 and B9.
Okay.
So now whatever Sheetal does, everything, all the credit comes under this.
Okay.
Now let's say Sheetal's split is, this is her 100 and this is 50. Now name one more person.
Anna.
Anna. Now so say you have to place Anna. Where would you place Anna now?
Under Sheetal.
Under Sheetal, right? But under B8 or B9?
B8.
Under B8. Perfect. So which means if you place Anna here, you make a check here, you make a check here, you make a check here.
Yeah.
So now for the 3 units that Anna has say signed up with, you made what, 37,500?
Okay.
So you make triple now.
Yeah.
And who's gonna help Anna? You have Sheetal and Neha also helping, because it's all their cashier also. Because in the bargain when Anna signed up, also Sheetal also made a check, Neha also made a check.
Okay.
Right? Now when Anna starts, you do the same thing. Before Anna can get started, you place 2 more TCs, that is B10 and B11. Right? Now Anna starts building. Now name one more person.
Deepa.
Deepa. So now say Anna's organization is like this. So where will you place Deepa? Under B11?
Yeah.
So you place Deepa here. So which means now you made a check here, you made a check here, you made a check here, and you made a check here. So which means now for the 3 units that Deepa started with, you earned 50,000 rupees.
Okay.
Right? And you can do the same thing. And it can go on and on. Now can you understand? I mean, and at the same time, Anna also made a check, Sheetal also made a check, Neha also made a check. So now, for every 3 units under Deepa, you're actually making 50,000 bucks. Now all the action is happening on this side. Okay? Now let's say Rekha says, and everything's happening on the other side, why not here, why not on my side? Okay, she said, okay, now say there's one name of friend who's common to Rekha. I said, okay, Rekha, we'll start that side as well.
Leena.
Leena, okay. So now say Rekha's organization is something like this. It's 700 here and 300 here. So where will you place Leena? Under B6?
Yeah.
Right? So you say you place Leena here. Now what happens? You made a check here. Do you make a check here? No, you won't make a check here because this is your strong side.
Okay.
So only you make a 1 check over here. Okay. But look at it, I mean, till now this was your credit side. You wouldn't be making checks, but now you're making a check on your credit side as well.
Okay.
Right? So now when Leena starts, the same thing you will do. You'll immediately you have more TCs in the bank. So last one 11, so you place B12 and B13 here.
Okay.
And now Rekha and you and Rekha will together work with Leena and help her grow. Now the same thing can be repeated over here as well, which will go on, and you will have here as well. Say name one more person. Meghna. So you have Meghna here, who's also on a leg which will earn you 50,000 rupees. So when Meghna does anything in the triple header, you make 50,000 rupees.
Okay.
Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But now imagine, say you are now a 21 header. So what are the chances that even Deepa and Meghna also sign up 21 headers?
Yes.
Now imagine if Deepa signs up, instead of a triple, she signs up on a 21 header. How many checks did you make? How many checks did you make? You will need a calculator to calculate, right? Which means you will need 6 checks here, you made 6 checks here, you made 6 checks here, you made 6 checks here. I am taking off the cycle points. Okay, you would have actually made 7. So which means 24 checks you made just by that one transaction. Which means 24 into 12,500, and you end up making 3 lakhs when Deepa signs up. Right? So 3 lakhs plus retail commission,
Yeah.
right? Which should be, I think, roughly around 85,000. Right? Which means you earn 3,85,000. Now imagine Meghna also does the same. So Meghna, when Meghna does a 21 header, you sign up as 21 header. So you make another 3,85,000. Now imagine if this happens in the same week. Okay? How much did you make? So you'll end up making about 7,70,000 in that week. And how much did you start off with? How much did you money put in? So in just that 1 week, what you had pumped in, say 5 lakhs, you are earning now more than that in just in that one week. Now let's look ahead. Okay. Now let's say this will take some time to build. Okay, and you reach a point where you are, say, at level of D and Meghna, what is that? Meghna and Deepa. At this point, you are maxing out. And let's say at the gold star level, you max out. Okay, you max out at the gold star level. Say roughly 6 lakhs is what you would make a week. So 6 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 6 lakhs on 4 leases, which is 24. It will be around, say, 6.25 or something. So let's round it off. So which means 6 lakhs this side, 6 lakhs plus this side. So in a week, you ended up making about 50 lakhs.
Okay.
25 lakhs on one side, 25 lakhs on the other side. So 50 lakhs you made in a week. Which means how much in a month? 2 crore. Which means in a year 24 crores. Right? Now we're talking of some huge figures. Now let's say this happens, this takes a lot of time to build. Say it takes about 10 years to get there. Okay? Say if I can ask you, what's your age?
28.
28? Okay. So let's say by the time you are 38, okay, you reach this mark where you touch this income.
Right.
Okay. So because you've hit this kind of income, say that year you spend all the money. Okay, you spend all the money. Now the same thing will happen next year as well.
Right.
You will have another 24 crores coming in. Now say you got a little wiser that year, you won't spend an entire amount. You spent about 4 crores and 20 crores is what you said, decided you will keep it in the bank.
Okay.
Okay. Now 20 crores, you can say very conservatively also in 10 years time, money can get doubled in a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say by the time you're 40, that 20 crores became 40 crores.
Yeah.
But you, in that 10 years, you also earned 240 crores. Right? Let's say you spend 40 crores. You still have 200 crores at your age 40, plus that 40 crores from the bank which came in. Right? So you have 240 crores. Now this 240 crores, you again put it in the bank for the 10 years. So by the time you're 50, this becomes 480 crores. But you have another 200 crores coming in.
Okay.
Right? So which you have 680 crores. Now let's say you spend, when you are 50, say you spend 180, you had a big lavish party and whatever, you spent about 180 crores, you will still be left with about 500 crores. Now can you imagine the kind of legacy that you would be leaving behind? You know, for the generations to come, you know, getting 24 crores year on year. And that's the kind of legacy that you can leave behind. Now, if I were to ask you, do you know who was Dhirubhai Ambani's father? You may not remember, you may not know. But Dhirubhai Ambani will be known for generations to come.
Yes.
Because he was the one who changed things.
Yes.
He's left a legacy for generations to come. Now this is how you can actually, so this business is no longer a business of 3 to 5 crores. And if you talk about people like Dave and Sachin and they're working on this business, they're not working for 5 crores. This is what they're working for.
Okay.
So just imagine now what can happen with that kind of, when you put a bank, you put the kind of money about 240 crores in a bank, you will have a bank opening a branch in your name under your building, or maybe close to your villa, which you will have by then. In your native, I'm sure you will do some stuff there. You'll be known, you will have roads and streets named after you. That's the real power of this business.
Okay.
So what do we do? Are we game to get started on this?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah?
Yes.
So let's start the process. Now remember, I told you there is 4 slots which are vacant.
Yes.
Okay? Why did we leave those? Now do you think these 4 slots are important?
Yes.
Why do you think they are important?
Because they form the first. They are one of the few slots which is right at the beginning of your organization.
But how would they benefit?
Because under them,
Can you see how the entire thing is getting built under them?
Yes.
Right? So whom would you want to give these positions?
Closest of my.
Now these positions, now you understand how important these positions are. These positions you will give to those people
Very close to me.
whom you love the most, whom you care for most, whom trust you. Okay? So who are the people whom you will give these positions to? Because whatever you're building, can you imagine this entire thing is getting built under them? On the one side they're getting credit.
Yeah.
So who do you think you will give this position to?
My family, my mom, dad.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of my close cousins.
Okay. So say you give this to your mom, dad, your brother, Deepak, and your cousin Sarika. So imagine entire this thing under 4 of them. Now I'll tell you what you need to do. You want them to give this benefit, right?
Yeah.
All you need to do is pick up the phone now from the name list. Call these 4. Tell them that listen. All you have to do is call them and tell them, listen, I've started something. I can't explain to you over the phone what it is about. I need to send me 3 lakhs of rupees. Okay, I'll share with you when we meet. Okay, if you like it, we can work together. If not, in 3 years' time, I will give you the money. I'll give double the money.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah. Good.
Doable?
Yeah.
Okay, so then get your list out. Let's first complete the hot zones. These are your hot zones.
Yeah.
And then the rest 25 is what we'll call and start working on this.
Done.
Yeah? Fine, so let's do this.
Yes.
Okay.